What's up, guys? Welcome to the Momentum Trading Lab. I'm your host Renier. Please hit that like and subscribe, and let's get into it. All right, so I'm going to start today's analysis on the dollar index. So let's have a look on the daily chart. So you can see the last two trading days we had price going to the upside, and if we have a closer look at what actually happened before that, just gonna quickly zoom in here. So over here we had this low, so we had a low and then a higher low on either side of this candle. So what resides below this low is the buy side liquidity, and you can see they just came below it, tapped it, and then it started to move to the upside. So this was our buy side liquidity taken. Okay, and then right here, this is where the sell side liquidity is residing. So the idea is, if the market makers brought down price to knock out the sell side or the buy, this is the sell side liquidity, sorry, I had it mixed around. So the idea is, if the market makers brought price down to basically buy up all of the sell side liquidity or the sell stops, they would want to pair these positions with the liquidity in this area right here. So just looking at the daily chart, it looks like the draw on liquidity for the dollar is to the upside. And then if we just zoom out a little bit and get a trend line, we have these relative equal highs. So this will be seen as support. So traders will ideally put their stop losses in this area if they are short on the dollar, and then the idea is that the market makers will go and attack that area to basically knock them up and pair up the positions that they opened in this area with the liquidity that's in this area at the top. And then if we also have a closer look right there, there's a little volume imbalance right there. So we know that the algorithm likes to move towards the liquidity and imbalances. So I'm just gonna mark this off. All right, so the buy side liquidity, this is at 104.447. And then the bottom of the volume imbalance is at 105.125, and that goes to 105.278. So this is going to be our draw on liquidity. Get a text box. All right, so we'll see once the dollar gets to these highs, we'll look closely and we'll see if we are going to get displacement to the downside, or are we going to power through this high all the way to this volume imbalance right here. So obviously the dollar index is inversely correlated to the Nasdaq and the stock market. So this means that we could see lower prices in the coming days for the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. So let's have a closer look at the Nasdaq. Just one thing that I want to point out before we go to the Nasdaq is that I kind of see the dollar taking out these highs, knocking out the liquidity, potentially closing this volume imbalance, and then coming down towards these relative equal lows. And that's going to be the sell side liquidity. So I'm seeing a potential move up into this area and then potentially down towards the sell side liquidity that resides below 101.784. And then also if we have a closer look at the momentum master B indicator, you can see that the stochastics RSI is pushing to the upside. The MACD is pushing up, and then the Williams also, the strength indicator, also still has a little bit of juice left to go to the upside. Alright, let's have a closer look at the Nasdaq. Okay, and then as I said, the dollar index is inversely correlated to the Nasdaq. So we said that on the stochastics for the dollar, this is pushing to the upside, and if we go to the Nasdaq, this is pushing to the downside. The money flow, the RSI, is pushing down. It looks like the MACD is about to roll over, and it looks like the Williams still has a little bit left, but it is getting in the overbought territory right here. So there's some bearish signals on the momentum master B. Okay, so let's have a closer look at the price action for the Nasdaq. Just gonna temporarily close that. Okay, so let's quickly see what happens. So we had this low right here. This is the sell side liquidity. And then we also had a gap right here. And I brought it right into the midpoint of this gap, and then got a nice move to the upside. Then we took out the liquidity above this high. Just want to quickly fix this. Put it to the right. So basically what happened is the market makers brought price down. The market makers, or the algorithm, whatever you will, they brought it down. They knocked out everyone that was still long on this move to the upside. They paired their orders with the sell side liquidity of those traders, and they fulfilled the volume imbalance. Then they sent price to the upside so they could take profit for the people that still had open positions short for this leg down. They knocked them out and paired the positions that are opened up here with the buy side liquidity right here. Right, and then we gotta move back to the downside, basically filling in this gap that we had right here, and then got another little push to the upside. So the other thing that we also can notice here is we had this bearish market structure, and then a push to the upside, took out the high, came down, made a higher low, and then made a higher high. So now we are in a bullish market structure on the daily chart. It just seems that it will have to come down and basically cool off a little bit, let the dollar do its thing like we mentioned. All right, so we also have a fair value gap right here. Extend all of this. Okay, so we have a nice big fair value gap, some bullish order flow, and then we have this candle right here. So we're going to mark this off as a bullish order block candle. All right, so we're looking for a potential move back to the upside from this area potentially. Let's also get a Fibonacci on this. Let's actually, before we pull the fib from the bottom to the top, let's pull it for this leg down, and then let's move it to the side. It kind of came right towards the Fibonacci 786. Couldn't close above it. It looks like we need to see a little bit of a move down before we see higher prices on the Nasdaq. Let's move that to the side. All right, so it looks like a potential move into this area for the coming days. So what we could expect is for them to sweep this high to basically take out the liquidity before they send it higher. The trend line. It's gonna put a D there for daily. Okay, so so we have shorter trading hours tomorrow. It's a bank holiday in the States, I believe. So the futures market is only going to be open until 12 p.m. New York time. So I'm going to see what happens in the London session and what happens after the open. But for right now, my idea kind of is that they will have to take out the high so they can pair their orders with the buy side liquidity that resides above 15,661. Push it to the upside and then bring it down into this area, and then from this point we'll be looking for longs on the lower term time frames. So overall it looks like the market structure has shifted to a bullish market structure. Let's see, we took out this high as well. Alright, so see, we didn't displace above this high. We're kind of getting rejected right there. So that's also telling me that we could potentially see this move into this fair value gap in the coming days. And then another volume imbalance right there. Alright, so it looks like in the coming days, maybe a move that would be the midpoint of the fair value gap. They'll reprice this and then potentially into this volume imbalance and beyond. So there's obviously a bunch of liquidity that's building up above these highs. So once they reprice it efficiently in this area, then potentially that move into the volume imbalance. Okay, before we go to the lower term time frames, let's just gonna quickly clean this up a little bit. Okay, so let's go to the 4 hour. Remove that. Okay, and then so relative equal highs right there. Price came into this area, knocked out the traders that had their stops for their short positions right there. And you'll notice we didn't displace above this high, so this is also telling me that price is going to go down into this fair value gap that we identified on the daily chart. They came right in the area, got rejected, couldn't displace above the high. So it definitely seems like potentially lower prices in the coming days. And then also right above this fair value gap on the daily, we have this low right here. So we will have sell side liquidity. Alright, so the daily and 4 hour suggest this is the draw on liquidity. Alright, so when we start to trade the lower term time frames once the market opens, I'll still take on long positions. but I'm kind of going to have a bearish bias, and I'm going to hit the shorts a lot harder than I am going to hit the longs. So when things are looking bearish like this, but I see a bullish setup on the lower term time frames, for instance the 15 minute, the 5 minute, the 1 minute, those lower term time frames, and there's a long setup, then I will go in with half the amount of contracts that I normally do. And then once I see that A plus short setup, then I will go in with the maximum amount of contracts. Make this a little bigger. Okay, let's also post this in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, the link is in the description. I'll also pin it in the live chat. Okay, let's just get a path tool. So this is kind of the projected path for the coming days. Move into the fair value gap, into the discount area. So we have the 0.5 right here at 15,208. And then the bottom of this fair value gap is almost in alignment with the Fibonacci 618. So we could see this close the entire gap and then potentially move to the upside. All right, let's post that in the Discord. Okay, I forgot to post it for the dollar. Okay, so you can get the chart in there. Yeah, let's go back to that 4 hour. Okay, let's have a look at the Momentum Master B on the 4 hour. The Momentum Master B is also looking pretty bearish along with the daily. The Williams, we have the red alarm. The Stochastics is still coming down. MACD is coming down. Is there any divergences? Not really anything that I can see right now. But we had the red print on the money flow and it's starting to come down. Definitely some bearish indications on the 4 hour. And then like I said on the daily as well, the Stochastics is starting to flip bearish. Money flow, RSI pointing down. And then the Williams is starting to get into that overbought territory. Let's have a look at the 1 hour. Okay, so here we can see a little better what happened. So we had the high, they swept the high, took out the liquidity, got displacement. We can't see a fair value gap right there, but we have the market structure shift right there. So we had bullish market structure, higher highs, higher lows. This was the very last higher low. Market structure shift. Let's see if there's a fair value gap on the 15 minute. Yes, so we had a nice big one right there. Another one right there. It's just on the 1 hour. It has not come back into the premium area. fair value gap. Right there. Let's get a fib on that. Came right into the premium area. Started to dump to the downside. Another one right there. Let's also pull a fib on this leg down. Came exactly, touched that equilibrium point. Got to move to the downside. Retraced back to the upside. And see how accurately it gets rejected at the top of the fair value gaps. That's pretty insane. And then the other interesting thing is, so this looks like they are engineering liquidity below these lows. So people that are going long right now or will go long once the market opens. See, there's also lows right here. Relative equal lows, relative equal lows. So a lot of traders is going to see this as strong support. So the market makers will most likely go and attack this area. And we can see in any case on the 15-minute, the order flow is bearish. And you can see that with the strong displacement and these fair value gaps, these bearish fair value gaps, or also known as SIBs. So sell side imbalance, buy side inefficiencies. So definitely it seems this wants to go down and attack these levels right here. Quickly have a look at the 15 or the 5 rather. Just want to quickly have a look at the momentum master B on the 15. Bearish on the 15 as well. Stochastics pushing down. Money flow above the RSI. That is a bearish indication. So price action will have to come down to reset the money flow below the RSI. And you can see how weak the MACD is looking. And then we have the Williams hour strength indication also topping out. So multiple bearish signals on the momentum master B, and then on the price action as well in this SIBI or bearish fair value gap with these relative equal lows right here. So we can assume that there's liquidity building up below these lows right there. All right, so let's just quickly recap. So on the dollar index on the daily, it looks like the draw on liquidity is to the upside because we have these relative equal highs right there. So there's going to be buy side liquidity building up in this area. We also have this volume imbalance right there, and then we have this old low that they could potentially go and attack as well. So draw on liquidity for the dollar index on the daily chart definitely to the upside. Let's just quickly clean some of this up. Okay, so the Nasdaq, although the market structure is looking bullish on the daily chart, we have this fair value gap right here. They took buy side liquidity above this high, so it seems likely that price action will have to come down, rebalance this area, and then make another push to the upside. The momentum master B is also indicating some bearish signals with the stochastics topping out and the Williams starting to get overbought. And then we said the 618 is in alignment with the bottom of this fair value gap, so they could bring it right down to 15,123, then push it back to the upside, take out the daily buy side liquidity above this high, and move towards this volume imbalance. And then the 4-hour was just kind of more of the same. We mentioned that we had relative equal highs right here. They couldn't displace above the relative equal highs, so that means that it looks like the smart money bought up these buy side the buy stops that was located in this area, and now they want to see lower prices so they can take profit on the positions that they opened above these highs. And then we also have that low right there, which is in alignment with the top of the daily fair value gap. So definitely it looks like the draw on liquidity is towards this area. And then also multiple bearish signals on the momentum master B, with most of the oscillators, or basically all of them, pointing to the downside. And then on the 1 hour, we had the bullish market structure, higher highs, higher lows, and then it got broken right after the liquidity sweep. And we can see the bearish order flow on the 15-minute with these bearish fair value gaps that was printed right there and right there. This came into a premium, moved to the downside. This looks like it is just filling or rebalancing that area right there. And then we have these relative equal lows right there. So we can assume there's going to be a build up of sell side liquidity below these lows. And it looks like this 15-minute wants to push right into that area and into this gray box, which is the daily fair value gap that we identified. Alrighty, I think that is basically more or less it. Let's quickly have a look at ES. So ES will basically be more of the same. On the daily chart, we can see that we had this nice low. So there would have been a bunch of sell side liquidity below this low. They tapped into it, pushed it to the upside. Same thing as on the Nasdaq. The oscillators basically look exactly the same on the Nasdaq and ES1. Fair value gap. After taking out this high and this high, so we could kind of expect for price action to come back in the discount range, with our order block, bullish order block on the daily, being right on this candle that it is at 4,470. Okay, fair value gap, order block. We have the equilibrium right here at the bottom of the fair value gap. We also have a little bit of a volume imbalance right there at the OTE, the 706. Quickly have a look at the 4 hour. Gonna see that okay, so the 1 hour also has the market structure shift. Get a fib on this. Okay, so I just want to quickly go back to the Nasdaq. Okay, so we could, what I'm thinking is right now, obviously if they want to take prices lower, they need to sweep the buy side liquidity before they take it down. So maybe during the Asian session, we see them sweep these buys so that they can take it into a premium above the equilibrium and then push it down. And let's quickly get a fair value gap on this one. Just kind of tapped into it. And so I think with the Nasdaq having these relative equal highs, it seems likely they sweep this area to get into the premium range on the 1 hour, and then they push it to the downside. I think that is a likely scenario that will play out. But there's always some sort of inducement. Then they rate the liquidity and then they move it into the actual direction. Okay, so ES basically looks the same. We don't have the relative equal highs right here. So for ES, they might push it right to the top of this fair value gap, which will take it to the premium area, the premium range on that 1 hour, and then push it to the downside right into that fair value gap that we identified on the daily chart. Alrighty, I think that is it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna do another stream tomorrow right before the London Open, and then I'm not gonna be streaming in the afternoon, but from Tuesday I will basically be doing a pre-market update right before the London Open, and then I'll do a update during the New York lunchtime, just in preparation for the PM session. And I'm doing it that way because I'm not always able to trade the New York AM session, but I'm able to trade the London session and the New York afternoon session. So quick update before the London Open, and then update during the New York lunchtime at 12 a.m. 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I will be doing more regular updates in the Discord. I will be posting all of the charts in there, so you can stay up to date with my charts by joining the Discord. Alright, with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in today. Please hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already, and then I will see you guys in the next one.